So Will's got an opportunity to speak about volunteering in Herefordshire.
Morning, everyone. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pinch someone's brain. I'm going to keep it succinct. I probably should say it's great to see some new faces. I think we've got 80 odd people registered today. And I think it's a really good sign that we've got some new people joining the network. 2 partnership meetings ago, there was a discussion on a table about volunteering in Herefordshire. I don't have any slides, by the way. And its importance in the county, but also some serious considerations about volunteering within the sector, within the community. So what I wanted to do is just really say, today we want to make a commitment to develop a plan together within the community partnership to develop some strategies, ideas about how we develop volunteering. Now, there's lots of factors that will impact that. It was interesting, Matt said about value, asset and value. Well, if I just start, I want to just give a tiny bit of context to this. Can anyone remember 2 meetings ago, the State of the Sector presentation, where there was a discussion about the number of groups that are in the sector? Anyone want to have a stab at how many there are in Herefordshire?
Am I allowed to answer?
Yeah, got to get it right now.
Was it 2,500?
Yeah, 2,300. So starting from a position of asset, we have not only 2,300 organisations, but the State of the Sector report suggests 81% of those are under 100,000 of income. So if we start from the point that we have a huge number of people who are active, it gives us a really good opportunity to see not only how we can retain them, but perhaps how we can involve others. Nationally, there is a lot of work now going on through organisations that have a national infrastructure role like NCVO and NAFCA, and there's something called Division for Volunteering, and it's really come out of a lot of the learning from the pandemic and other factors. So it's quite timely that we now start to look at this for Herefordshire. I think the other thing I'll say is HVOS, we're a support service for voluntary organisations, but people have come to me recently and say, so what's your plan, Will, for the volunteering strategy for the county? Well, actually, it's not down to us.
Good morning. I'm ringing on behalf of my husband, Christopher Martin.
The more we start using we in all this context rather than they or you or I think
on Zoom, you're not on mute.
Removed by
so
Alex on Friday.
What we're trying to do is acknowledge some of the factors, and I just want to tease you with a few of those and then give an invitation to you. So a couple of teasing factors. COVID, huge influx of people willing to help.
Thank you.
Massive contribution in our community. Much of it going on at a community level, which actually didn't need a huge amount of management. Challenge, which again is on the back of a positive, is so many new people came in to help who'd not previously volunteered. Lots of people of working age, lots of people that were furloughed, working from home, huge resource. Challenge, most of those gone back to their day jobs. But that is a really good opportunity for us too, because what we need to do is look at new ways for engaging those people. An opportunity, we quickly, with Amy and a Talk community team, recruited 300 people that said we'll help you with the vaccination clinics. What a great opportunity that is. What it did is it really tested some of the traditional models of volunteering. People think it has to be regular, has to be part of formal support, requires training, which of course some specialist roles do. But is there an opportunity for us to look at other ways of engaging these skills? There's got to be, not just in the community, but we did some work, if you remember, with the High Sheriff last year, the business community, public sector organisations. We know organisations like Wye Valley, Herefordshire Council have volunteering policies which could and should allow staff to do some sort of community support. So there's also a bit about recognition and awareness. Perhaps we could do much more around valuing what people are doing in their local community and using that as a tool. Emily and I and Nicola at HFOS had a conversation about, you know, there's much more of a need to recognise what people are doing. Can we do that in a formal sense? So without giving you war and peace about some of the other strategies, what I want to suggest we do is we all make a commitment today to set up a small task group with input from all sectors. I'd like to invite you, if you are interested in taking forward volunteering, to register some interest with us. We at HFOS will help. Nicola, might you mind just standing out? Or Nicola is our volunteering lead at HFOS. So over the coming months, Nicola and others at HFOS will support the establishment of this with the idea of bringing together everyone that's got an interest. So we can start coming back to you with some of those ideas and plans, and we can actually get on to doing some action-based work. So does that sound like something that you committed to at the last meeting? And I think what we've always wanted to do is we're very aware that there's lots of listening for several hours and there's lots of information, but the community partnership's got to be very action-based. So my suggestion would be we come back. I know there's a busy agenda every meeting, maybe not the next meeting, but the following meeting, we come back with the results of that group's work, because I know there's already some people who are interested in joining it, and we have the basis of a discussion which brings forward what we're going to all do as a county. Is that sound like something people would welcome? Okay, happy to take any questions, and if they go on, it's into your coffee.
That's like a threat.
That's me getting off the hook.
Yeah.
Any
Adam,
comments?
Just if you would like.
hang on.
Oh,
Wait
I
for
think
that.
I'm louder than that without a mic.
No, you're not.
Zoom
You
needed.
need it.
Oh, it's for the Zoom meet. If people would like to recognise and say thank you to their volunteers, we do have a campaign at the moment asking you can just simply take a picture, say thank you, and upload them. All the information is on social media, so please do it to really recognise the amazing volunteer effort for the previous year.
Because it's about to be volunteer week, isn't it?
It is.
First week of June, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Marcus? Are you sure you're not hogging the mic, Marcus?
Definitely not. Definitely not. You were talking about vaccinations, and there are a lot of people volunteering in Malvern at the vaccination centre. It just stopped. Nobody said thank you. Nobody said well done. Nobody said anything. It just stopped. That is not the right way to treat volunteers.
I'll take that back, Marcus, and come back to you directly. When you say it's in Malvern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, but we'll come back. We'll come back to you.
Thanks.
I need to understand that a bit more. The reason I asked about Malvern is the border thing, but I'll come back to you.
Vaccination centre on 2 counties.
Yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Kath Hay. Thanks for that, Will. And yeah, this is obviously really important. Having been involved in community groups for quite some time now, something that I've observed is something called volunteer fatigue, which is that you'll get a really keen band of volunteers that will put their heart and soul into something for a couple of years and then, you know, have to step down because everyone has busy lives. And the age factor, again, is obviously something that is, you know, concern to everybody because people are having to work longer these days. Volunteers you may have had in their late 50s or early 60s in the past are no longer available. I helped out at the vaccine clinics and worked with a lot of people of retirement age. But I think something occurred to me, and obviously I've met with Emily, and I think what's really important is that we train up the next generation. And we've talked about obviously going into schools and talking about talk community, educating young people about what is out there, how they can help their communities, because young people do want to help their communities if they're given the opportunity, but it's just telling them about it. So I think work in schools would be really, really useful to make sure that we can encourage that younger generation. And I know certainly from the City Council's point of view, we're happy to feed into the task group and help where we can. I work obviously closed house in the city. The young people there, they do volunteering out in the community, the EPICs, and they are really contributing to the volunteering effort. So it's something, whether that can be replicated throughout the county. But those are just my thoughts.
That's brilliant, Kath. Yeah, we take you up on the offer of the City Council clearly, and I think I've got a whole load of information here, but I think you are right about the youth aspect being a particular aspect of the plan for the county, including how volunteering or helping, supporting your community is branded, so that it encourages particularly young people to consider it, who historically view volunteering in a certain way, and it's how we can overcome some of those barriers. There's been one school that has certainly got in touch about trying to introduce some sort of afternoon of supporting your community, and I think it provides an opportunity to look at much more innovative ways, as you say. So yeah, quite exciting. Thank you.
Thanks,
Hi.
Will. Oh,
Oh yeah, Jane Roberts, Ross and Y again. We had a meeting earlier this month of Ross groups, and this is one of the issues that came up here. And I completely agree about bringing younger people in. And I think Paul Baker over there has really good experience of working with our local secondary schools to support the cancer support group, so that there are models there. However, just going back to Steve's presentation about sort of levels of activity in older people, one of the things that was reported was that the groups in Ross were finding it difficult to reactivate their volunteer base because a lot of volunteers in their 60s or maybe early 70s who had been very active prior to lockdown, after 18 months of sitting at home, no longer feel able to volunteer. And if those people would actually be supported to return to volunteering, not only would it benefit the sector, but it would also benefit those individuals in terms of their well-being. So I suggest that's something that the task group should look at.
Thank you, Jane. And you're exactly right. That's also one of the findings from the State of the Sector report. It's not a reluctance, but the consideration of people coming back to volunteering, particularly vulnerable groups, and the need for supported volunteering. So yeah, I completely agree.
Just a quickie with the youth, bringing the youth into it, because you've got the DofE that volunteering is part of it, but I don't think a lot of businesses recognise that actually volunteering is part of the Duke of Edinburgh Award, and not all schools do it. Could we look at developing a qualification, something that's recognisable on CVs, so that the kids see the incentive as well for it, and the schools can link into it a little bit better? Could that be something that could be looked at?
Yeah, there's no reason why we can't do that, and we can build on other things that we've had in the past, things like a volunteer passport, for instance. Wasn't a formal qualification, but listed things like the things that people have done. So gave that recognition, but there's no reason why that isn't exactly the type of thing we should look at. Particularly, I'm really interested in the business aspect of that. Thank you, Alison.
last question.
Thank you. I'm just, my name's Nikki Stride from Talk Community, and just want to say about the young people getting involved, definitely around schools, but also the holiday activities is kind of a workforce which is sat there sort of dormant for 6 weeks. And when I've been out to visit some of the HAF providers and the holiday activities providers, the young people that are working with like small kids is it's inspirational to see how these youths are working. And I just wondered if there was something we could link in with the holiday activity about, again, having that recognised on CVs going forward for when they go into college. Just speaking to some of the young people at Ledbury Rugby Club. They have really benefited from that throughout the holiday to keep themselves active. And just seeing the young children get so much from working with the, the youth as well. So just if we could mirror that and help support other holiday activity providers in how that can be done, and again recognise what the young people are doing, just make it a bit easier. So I'm not sure some of the other authorities do like a youth leadership program, something like that, but something sort of local, that would really help.
Thanks. I think we're on to a winner with this. There's a lot of energy for it. So what I suggest is that over the break now and also over lunch, if we'll formally put out an expression of interest for people to involve, but if you want to speak directly to Nicola, then I'm sure Nicola would take your names and we can set up this group. Is that okay? The one final thing I must say, because I know Kate is on the Zoom, but when we had a conversation earlier in the week about the implications of managing all this within organisations, and I think one of the key points would be that that organisations feel they're able to manage this well, because it is a consideration. And I think Katie came up with a good thought that actually we also need to think about the output being greater than the input, because we do need to consider the needs of organisations too. So I think we've got the makings of lots of different strands, and we'll come back to you. And that's gone on much longer than I thought, but I think it's well worth it. So.